this. And this exercise is as well going to be enabling and also helping those people who want to transfer or wish to transfer their new polling stations. This also will be catering for them, and this is where you must have proof that indeed the area you are moving to, you are part of that area, and this is where you will be required to also present either national ID or a letter from the LC1 chairperson, and this is exactly what we shall be seeing taking place on today. And I do understand that some of the areas will not be in position to have this today because the gadgets, I mean those machines, the biometric machines that are going to be used for this exercise are not enough. And according to information we got from the office, Electoral Commission will be borrowing this from the sister agent, that's NIRA, because the two work hand in hand. NIRA does what we call the giving out of the national IDs, and then the Electoral Commission uses that for the elections. And this means you who has a national ID, by virtue you're already a voter, because you're already 18, and this is also an exercise you must now take keen interest. But for those who also are in positions, maybe at council levels, you must also give keen interest in rallying up behind to also make sure that they take keen interest in this also really exercise. And that means from today, we want to see you at your areas. We want to see you at the grassroots, also really convincing, because many times when such issues come out, people do not want to also really give time to be part of this, and this is where at times people want to be convinced, people want to be drugged. But of course, that's not what we're pushing for. We want to see each and everyone be part of this, and from today, we shall be seeing this happening. We are back, and I do understand that some of you could have missed us by the time we are away, but now, hopefully, we are back bigger and better to take you through with the KOKOLIRIKO live show from today. And today is really Monday, 20th of January. We are just some few minutes to 8 o'clock, and I want to take this opportunity to welcome you on board from the different parts of Western Sub-region where you're watching us from right now. It could be in Zombo, Madiokolo, Terego, Yumbe, Arua City. And when I talk about Arua City, I mean both the district and the city. This is really where, if you are watching us from, we are very much proud of you. Meanwhile, for those who are watching us in other parts of the country, in Western Uganda, we are as well proud of you. When I talk about Western Uganda, this area is actually very, very much big. When I talk about Western Uganda, we have a number of sub-regions in there. The Bunyoro sub-region is in also the western part of Uganda, the Ankole, and then not forgetting the Toro, which are all part of Western Uganda. That's really one of the regions I must say is quite big. And this is really where we also want to welcome you on board in case you are watching us from that side. Not forgetting those in Central Uganda. And I really want to say if you are watching us from Kono, Kampala, and other parts, we are as well proud of you. We are saying we are back. And then not forgetting those within Northern Uganda at large, we are as well proud of you. Not forgetting those in Eastern, we are still saying you are most welcome aboard. Meanwhile, for those who are also watching us overseas, we do not forget you. We are not leaving you out. We are as well saying you are most welcome. And this is the KOKOLIRIKO live show that comes your ways every Mondays to Fridays, right from 7 o'clock, 9 o'clock, with me, Farish Majid. We on some occasions, we bring guests with whom we discuss a number of issues here and there. But now, as we are getting to move on, today I want to inform you that I'm going to be alone, but hopefully from tomorrow, we shall be having a number of guests all aligned to make sure that you are part of the discussions and you exactly know what is to come your way. And that is where on some occasions, we as well invite guests on matters where we feel you deserve first-hand information, because sometimes people also want to see how some issues happen, and that's really where sometimes we bring a number of people to also dissect on some of these issues. And this is really where I want to now ask you to also be part of. And we are going to be looking at a number of stories, because a number of activities have already happened this year, where recently we also did see the country losing two prominent persons. I mean, Member of Parliament for Kawempe North, that is Honorable Segirinya Muhammad, who passed on and he was laid to rest. And people of West Nile, we also really as well mourning the demise of, that is, late Honorable Margaret Babadiri, the former woman member of Parliament for Koboko District, who also really at one time represented persons with disability. And we were able to receive a number of dignitaries from across the country, who also really, we are here in Koboko to also give this woman a decent send-off. We want to thank whoever also visited the West Nile sub-region to also be part of this ceremonious occasion, to also really make sure that we thank them, because losing such a dignitary, really, it's already something bad, because we want to see them still remain there to guide the young politicians. This is really something most often we want to see happening, and at the end of the day, we are all pushing out for that. And this is really something at the end of the day, we also did see happening last week, and really this week, we are hopeful that a lot of issues are going to be happening, both good and bad. But of course, we are praying for only the good ones, because bad things also really paint a wrong image. And that means for those parents who are also still at home there, I do understand you are still with your children at home, but then the days are running up. How prepared are you as a parent to see that your children go back to school on the official date, which is on 2nd, and that means on 3rd, sorry, and this is sort of something at the end of the day, we are saying we must prepare ourselves for, because some of the schools may be opening over the weekend, that may be on Saturday, and others will be receiving the learners on Sunday. But we are saying, as parents, let's ensure that we send our children within these days. And the strong warning has already been issued to the schools, that's ahead of also reopening, where they have been cautioned against early reopening, and something which I must say is also really prohibited, because we do not want to see how, of course, our learners go back to school when the official date is not out, because at the end of the day, it's going to also cause problems to them. We are likely to see our children return back to school, get exhausted, because they have been part of studying right from the holidays. And that means by the time the term is ending, the children are already tired, something which of course we don't want to see. Personally, I must say I was part of that. I was able to also report to school during holidays, but it has its own negatives. And I really want to say, much as we are looking forward to finishing the syllabus, let's also mind about the welfare of the children, how they are going to be living in the schools. And really the holidays are meant for them to also refreshen their brains. And if at all we continue pumping them with a lot of pressure, then at the end of the day, this is also going to be having its own negative implication on the academic progress of these learners. And this is something at the end of the day which I want to say we must also condemn in the strongest terms in there. And as we get to move on, so many issues have already been said. Today, when we talk about a number of issues, women have already received the PDM, others have already done a lot with it, others as well have also misused the monies. But we are saying these are monies we must make sure that we refund back. I know some of them must also now be looking for ways of refunding this money, and others already thinking of political period, thinking that politicians should come and give them the monies. But I really want to say, when you are misusing the money, it was not a politician who misused for you. Let's also not engage too much in these issues of wanting money from politicians, because at the end of the day, it has its own negative as well. And this is something which we also must condemn in the strongest terms in there, because we are getting closer to that period where we're already going to be seeing politics. And I don't want to say politics is already taking place, whether we like it or not. It's already happening, though Electoral Commission has not yet given out the time for people to start campaigning. But we are already seeing this happening, where politicians are already doing donations, where politicians don't want to miss now weddings, where politicians are not missing funerals. Every time you're seeing them within their areas of jurisdiction, that means politics is already around the corner, and 2025 actually shapes ground for the 2026 elections. But then the question is, how ready are you as citizens, and how ready are you to also scrutinize? Because at the end of the day, before you vote that person, I believe you are supposed to scrutinize on who the best out of all. Maybe that's something at the end of the day we also want to see you engaging. Because if at all you are not going to be engaging in scrutinizing or selecting the best person, we are going to be having tendencies of this bill and that we approved. We are saying that this is also a matter that these issues are going to be coming up because we voted for them. And really, this is something at the end of the day we must condemn in the strongest terms in that. My humble appeal to the electorates is that let's learn to see the best kind of leaders. Let's look at them. Let's avoid issues of wanting money first. Because at the end of the day, if I give you money, trust me, there's a way I'm going to be entitled to you. There's a way I'm going to be also really looking forward to also recovering my money. And that's something at the end of the day which also really means a lot. But we are saying, as we are seeing the ground being also leveled, let's make sure that we are identifying the right persons to lead us for the next 5 years, because they are going to be in offices for the next 5 years. unless otherwise, because at times we have also seen people being thrown out of maybe offices. But now we're saying, as far as we know the Ugandan laws, once you voted, you are supposed to rule for the next 5 years. But if we vote wrong persons, just because they gave us money, just because they gave us soap, just because they gave us maybe sugar, what does that mean? At the end of the day, this person will look for means of recovering this money. And that's where politics becomes business for some people. But really what we are saying is, as electorates, as you who is watching me right now, let's identify the right candidates. Let's vote the right people who are going to be in these offices, people who also have it as heart. And this is something at the end of the day where we're going to be seeing development, because if at all we don't do that, then the country will lag behind when it comes to issues of development, and something at the end of the day which also will have its own negative implication on also really issues of also really maybe service delivery, because service delivery is something that has been lacked quite often, and this also sometimes is attributed to the leadership gap. And this is something at the end of the day, my appeal will be to you that let's also really give keen interest into understanding. And really this is something at the end of the day we shall also really be seeing happening in the country, because Uganda is now getting ready for the next elections, and that means we must also now devise means of making sure that we do what is expected out of us in there, and that's something at the end of the day which would also be very, very much good for us in there. And as we get to move on, I remember so many issues happened, and over the weekend we were able to see a number of activities happening. And if we talk about the weekend, so many things happened right from Friday, because this is where the KOKOLIRIKO live show comes in on Monday. On Mondays like this, what we do is we give you stories right from Friday, because we are only here from Mondays to Fridays. That means over the weekend we're not here, and we have to give you these stories on a Monday like this. And really, if you see what happens on Friday, we are able to see stakeholders led by the area member of parliament, that is Yovan Adriko from Vura County, leading a campaign to make sure that they give Vura Senior Secondary School, one of the oldest secondary schools in the Rural District, a facelift in there, because the school has been grappling with challenges of infrastructure. And when we talk about infrastructure, we are talking about the dormitories which are already old, we're talking about the classrooms which are unplastered, and for a school which has never also received a lot of support when it comes to government support. Really, you get rather solely stakeholder engagement is very key. And today, I will also really be reminding some of the old boys and old girls of the school that they have to do what it takes to give the school a facelift, because they are where they are because of the school. And I have a number of colleagues who have also really been through the gates of the school. That means we are likely to also really see that we want to see them also go back to the school and give the support also really which has been lacking in there. And from today, I will be knocking the doors of our Benson. I will be knocking up the doors of many other colleagues out there to make sure that they give their school also really a facelift in there, as we are already seeing the Member of Parliament, Yovan Adriko, donating 40 bags of cement towards the cause of renovating a classroom. The A-level block is under renovation, a campaign launched by the all students. And I do understand the BOG together with the PTA and also the all students as well as undertaking a development to build a dormitory for the boys in there. And all this are happening also in there, and I will be also chipping into more of the discussions later on. But because of time, we are going to be stopping here yet, and we shall be returning back to still look at also what happened over the weekend. For now, it's just a commercial breather. When I get back, the discussions will be able to continue. Once again, I am Farish Majid, and it's a great pleasure having you, the viewer, on board this morning as we move on. For now, we are taking a short commercial break. When we get back, the discussions will be underway to continue up to 9 o'clock.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
Unwrap your holiday cheers with Star Times this Christmas season. Starting the 15th of November, simply pay your monthly subscription for the next bouquet and automatically enjoy content on the next higher bouquet, plus a chance to win exciting prizes. Your gift box contains variety of local entertainment and fresh shows, exciting cartoon and fun kids entertainment, mega superstars, local and international, a memorable trip to Spain to watch a La Liga match. And that's not all. Lots of prizes to be won, including ZTE Nubia smartphones with free 15 GB Airtel data. StarTime's gift that keeps on giving. Merry Christmas! This message is powered by ZTE Nubia. Better for all. Look out for StarTime Solar to unwrap your lighting and entertainment experience this Christmas. At only 700 shillings daily charge, get yourself a StarTime's S50 that comes with lighting, phone charging, strong lithium battery, radio with a flash port and a Bluetooth speaker. For more entertainment needs, get yourself a StarTime's S130 that comes with an extra 32-inch TV screen and 2 years free StarTime subscription. StarTime Solar, more than just solar.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
Alright, welcome back. In case you're just joining us right about now, you're most welcome for the KOKOLIRIKO live show that comes your ways every Mondays to Fridays right from 7 o'clock until 9 with me, Farish Majid, where we also give you a number of issues, right, with stories happening within your community and what also makes around in the world of, in the corridors of current affairs is what we always do here on West Nile Television each and every mornings right from Mondays to Fridays. And this is where I want to take the opportunity now to welcome you on board, and we are still looking at what's making it also really right from also within our society, because our number one priority as West Nile Television remains that is to enlighten the region, and we're not going to be doing that alone, but of course we have to do it together. And now talking about some of the stories that also that happened in the West Nile sub-region over the weekend, we are able to see Hajat Naham Medina Ojale, the Director of Finance and Administration at the NRM Secretariat, convening a meeting of the produce dealers in Koboko district, most especially those who deal in groundnuts, who have also been having challenges with Uganda Revenue Authority over issues of extortion, because these are some of the concerns that the traders were able to also raise, that they are being harassed, they are being maltreated, they are being overtaxed, they are being over-disturbed while they deal in this trade of groundnuts, because the groundnut they deal in is not from the Democratic Republic of Congo as said so, or not from South Sudan as said so, but this is groundnut from within West Nile sub-region that is supposed to be moved freely, because our policy does not permit taxation of the agricultural produce except if the produce that is to be taxed is coming from a neighboring country. But as far as the law is concerned, goods, most especially agricultural products from within Uganda, are not supposed to be taxed so long as they are moving from one jurisdiction to another, but within the same country, they are not supposed to be taxed. Now we have produce dealers in Koboko who are transporting the produce maybe to Kampala. But most often we have been having this challenge. The traders had been complaining that Uganda Revenue Authority sometimes taxes them, but we did see also Uganda Revenue Authority coming out to clarify about this. In this meeting, we were able to see the body being represented by some of its top leadership. And this is something we did see happening yesterday at the Koboko District Local Government, also really headquarters. And this is where we were able to see this happening at the council hall, where people were able to also raise their concerns. The traders actually decried issues of extortion. And we were also able to raise another pertinent issues. Of course, I wouldn't also want to break down on some of those, but others remained in the district council hall. But what also came out very much vividly is the fact that they are being maltreated by Uganda Revenue Authority, the body that is responsible for collecting taxes. I do understand that solely without taxes, as a country, we are not also likely to prosper. But when do we also need this money is what really matters, and what we also as well as have to interest ourselves in, because if at all we're not interesting ourselves in that, then at the end of the day, we are going to be seeing a number of challenges happening also affecting the country in there, something which would also not be good. But we did see that happening, and we hope at the end of the day, we shall be also hopeful that we shall be seeing also really nothing of that caliber happening again. And we want to see how, of course, we would also really want to see the country move where people have to understand that they have the obligations of paying taxes. Let's make the people understand that it's their mandate. And I believe we are not doing enough when it comes to also letting the world and letting the country know that it's actually our mandate to pay taxes. Because at the end of the day, we want to see the roads being worked upon, we want to see the schools having the teachers being well paid, we want to see the health facilities also as well having the drugs. But where do these things come from? It is actually through the taxes that we pay. It is also where at the end of the day, if government is to make people realize that yes, indeed, they have the mandate of paying the taxes, then service delivery must first be checked. Because if I move the health facilities and I still see doctors are not there, drugs are not there, people are still being written, go buy this and that, at the end of the day, trust me, I will lose interest in paying the taxes, because I do not see the benefit of me paying the taxes. Why should I continue paying the taxes? These are the questions at the end of the day somebody out there will be also thinking, and what is the result? People are going to be resulting in also really activities that also really prevent them from paying taxes. And this is something at the end of the day which also really is against the law, because the law also really will hold you accountable once caught. You will be able to sort of explain why you not pay the taxes, and your goods may also really be impounded. This goes to smugglers or those dealing illegal products, or those who are also running away from paying taxes. Your time will come, and that is really where at the end of the day I am saying we must make sure that we do our obligation as citizens when it comes to paying taxes, and that's something at the end of the day we shall be also really, pushing out for. We have to continue paying our taxes, and this is also really this will help Uganda government, not actually Uganda Revenue Authority, but the government in terms of also really planning for the next also really years in there, because Uganda Revenue Authority has its own obligation of only collecting the taxes. Where next does the tax go? It goes to the government, and this is where the parliament has to allocate and budget for this money, and this is really where at the end they want to see service delivery first be improved, and this would also really at the end of the day enable the citizens continue with the obligations of paying taxes, because once that's not the case, people are going to be running away from paying taxes, and the result is that we are likely to see the country result also all being led into borrowing, because if you look at our borrowing mushroom today as a country, we are also really highly indebted. That means at the end of the day, if at all we do not also really fulfill this, what does that mean? More loans. At the end of the day, who are to pay these monies? It means we are also really ready, and we have to also continue paying these taxes. We, our children, our great-grandchildren will have to pay these monies back, but we can still avoid that. We can simply avoid government from borrowing money through paying our taxes, and that means we want to slowly see the country move forward, and at the end of the day, we shall be the ones to enjoy the fruits, because we do not also rely on borrowings. Many times, one thing that annoys me is that once budgets are being read, sometimes money is nowhere to be seen. We have to also borrow the monies, and that means at the end of the day, we are also really going to be affected by that. And really, that's one thing at the end of the day, we are saying shouldn't also be the case. Want to see now Uganda fund its own budget. It's real, and I really want to believe that Uganda can still have its own budget funded, only if we prioritize what we need. Secondly, if at all, these monies that we also really pay in terms of taxes is rightly used without challenges of it being misused. That means if there's no corruption, then the monies that maybe could have been used somewhere can be put in the right channel, and we see the country move forward. And that's exactly what we are pushing out for. And really my appeal to the taxpayers out there is that, because when we talk about taxpayers, I'm a taxpayer. Part of my money is being chopped also for paying taxes, and that means I am a taxpayer, and I can also really have a say in terms of also really paying taxes. And on behalf of taxpayers, and I really want to say let's continue to pay our taxes and to make sure also that the country moves forward. And that's really where at the end of the day we shall be able to see the country move also away from the line where it is. And talk about line, I mean excessive borrowing, to maybe limited or small borrowing to fund the budgets in there. And that's really where at the end of the day I'm going to be leaving a story happening in Kawoko, because if you look at Kawoko is actually bordering two countries. And if you look at also really the areas, we're talking about the Democratic Republic of Congo and South Sudan just in the north. And this is really where at the end of the day we have been having challenges, because these all have porous, or what we call illegal entry points, where through sometimes we see illegal products coming in from there. This is the very first time we are seeing traders complaining. What about the charcoal dealers? They have been complaining that the charcoal that they deal in comes in from South Sudan, but once they are transporting it to Kampala or other areas, they are being arrested and being disturbed, sometimes also by officials from NFA, sometimes only from Uganda Revenue Authority, and this is where at times it also becomes very much burdensome for them to also trade in these areas. We heard stories, people who also were able to narrate that they were also being disturbed, they had to call here and there to be freed. Sometimes people are being issued statements, which I must say are very much bad, but all in all, this is where we have been seeing challenges. And remember, at top level, The government also of South Sudan recently came out to also really say sometimes we have officials, foreigners who come and deal in these bad practices, but really we are saying instead of cutting down the trees, be it in another country, shouldn't also be the case. Because as an environmental activist, I really want to say we are saying cutting down trees for charcoal is not sustainable. Really, let's now start looking at other means. If government can make electricity very much cheaper, the overdependence syndrome on charcoal, I believe, will go down. Then if gas is also really made cheap, instead of people going for charcoal, then they will be embracing gas. And at the end of the day, we are also going to be seeing the country also really avoid the challenge of climate change, because we talk about climate change. Today, it's really that the country and the world is suffering from impacts of climate change. We are seeing the dry spell being prolonged and the long also rain season slowly taking place. And recently we did see that happening, where in Western sub-region, we are able to witness a long period of the rains. Many people are thinking at the time, maybe by November or December, they will be having the dry spell. But that wasn't the case. We still had rain showers. And that means climate change is a reality. And that means we have to also devise means, as advised by experts, that we must plant trees instead of cutting down them. And that would, at the end of the day, enable the country and move in a way also that is free from the impacts of climate change. And that's really something at the end of the day which would also be very much good for the country to also continue witnessing, because if that's not the case, and then we are likely to suffer the devastating impacts of climate change, which we did see happening, where our roads were being destroyed, where people's gardens, most especially those who had planted some crops that needed also the sun heat, also being affected in there. But we are saying it is now time that instead of cutting down the trees, yes, as much as we are suffering from the impact of the increasing population, but we are still saying those areas that are yet to be occupied must also receive trees. And that's really something at the end of the day which we shall also be getting money from. By the time also you want to maybe set up your buildings, your trees are ready, you sell them and get money. And that's really something at the end of the day which will be very, very much good for us as a country to also engage ourselves in. And that will be very, very much good if at all we want to witness development in this country. And that's something which at the end of the day is really, really worth being appreciated. And I hope you are still with us. And as we get to move on, as we are returning back from the weekend, so many things happened, as I did say earlier on, and I will be breaking down each of them to you, the viewer, as we get to move on. And we still, over the weekend, we had a number of games on the 18th. That was on Saturday at Greenlight Stadium, where we were able to see very many soccer fans turning up in numbers to remember and honor late Agao Rashid, may his soul rest in eternal peace, who was a player of the Western Province, who has well featured for a number of teams. And if I'm to mention teams, I will mention to you both the clubs and also really the schools he played for. And now talking about the schools, we were able to see this young lad playing for schools like Naja Secondary School, Naja, Swalhin, St. John's College, Jombatsi, St. Mary's Tende. These are the secondary schools that this guy really went through, and he went through a number of schools. Of course, I may not be in position to mention all of them, but as a kind and as a person who is also really down to earth, we didn't see the numbers. The numbers didn't lie because of his character. That means, as a person out there, how do you relate with people out? You may not be a footballer. You may not be maybe a footballer just like Agao Rashid. You may be a journalist like me. You may be a businessman. You might also really be out there as a bodyboard rider. But how do you relate with the people around you speaks very much. Because what happened at Greenlight Stadium, the numbers didn't lie, and I believe it's just simply because of his character as an individual. And we didn't see that happening, and we didn't see the world also really saddened about his death when the news came out. That was last year around September, where we also already had the KOKOLIRIKO run. And I believe, and I really want to inform you that by the time the news was broken at Baripa Stadium, we saw what happened. The mood changed from the jolly mood to a sad one, and this is because of his character. Many times also, if you want to be remembered and if you want to be honored, just like the late, then it means you have to check on your character. You can still change. If you are told you have been behaving badly, insulting your colleagues at work, reporting them, maybe it's time to change, because at the end of the day, this is something also at the end of the day that we would also really want to, maybe if you want to be honored, if at all you want your colleagues also to continue remembering you for being good, then avoid those characters. Always learn to relate with people, because everyone who turned up at Greenlight Stadium was not a footballer. Maybe was not also a soccer lover, but because of the character of this young lad whom we lost just in his 30s, this is something which I really want to say is worth being emulated. This goes to the rest of the colleagues, most especially those who are still in active football. Learn to also really be good, because the money is part of it also that was collected will be undertaken also to support his projects, that the projects left behind, because Agao Rashid, I know him as a kind person, as a person who is a family head, and he has been taking care of a number of his family members, just also already a few children, but we did see also in a quite good note, one of the schools has already offered bursary for the children, and that means also really that's a burden also being relieved of, but it's still not enough. What about the projects that was undertaken and that was undertaking? These are also where we want to see more support now being also really rallied towards the cause, and at the end of the day we shall be seeing it happening. And many people also turned out. That was at the Greenlight Stadium. I'm able to see still the director for NRM, that is now Medino Jale, also being part of the crew, and I was able to see politicians like the Ronald also really being part of the crew together with these supporters, and this is something also which we want to see and we want to honor, which also must continue, where the 3 games were also being played. And I was able to see the media team. Of course, I was not part of the team, but I was still able to support them from wherever I was, and I really want to say I am very much proud of the team, and they did their part to represent us very, very much well in there. And I really want to thank my colleagues still within the media fraternity for the job well done in there. Meanwhile, the Western Province was also able to beat Acholi Province by 4-2 in the fourth-round match in there, and a number of other games also were played. And I was able to see the Friends of Agao Rashid in West Nile playing against the Friends of Agao Rashid in the diaspora, and these are also really part of the strategies to see this happen. And I really want to say this shouldn't be the last time, and if at all we are to honor this annually, then it will be good. And this is really where other players definitely must also really learn from the experience of Agao Rashid, and that's also really only if you want to be honored like him, then check your behaviors. If at all you have been putting on those shots, showing off, not greeting people, it's time you change. Learn also to live with people. Learn to be kind. Learn to be free. This is also where at the end of the day, by the time you die, people will also remember you just like the late. And at the end of the day, we shall be also turning out in numbers, maybe to play for you wherever you are, also to raise money to support those projects that you will be leaving behind in there. And I want to thank whoever showed up for these matches, and I hope at the end of the day, this is not going to be the last time. Once this annually being undertaken, and I want to thank the organizers for that good also really cause of raising this money. But really my humble appeal should also be that this money should indeed reach out the right people. Why am I saying this? Many times we hear people coming up with such ideas, but the money does not also reach the intended persons. And this is also where at the end of the day it becomes very, very much challenging for people to continue trusting such also initiatives. But I hope this time around, this is where we shall be also really seeing that also really happening in there. And I hope at the end of the day, we shall be seeing also people change also really taking place in there. And I hope at the end of the day, this is where we would also really want to see this also really impactful in there. Now, leaving that discussion aside, digital now places government to lose billions in unpaid traffic fines, and this is another story we are seeing where the government could lose billions of shillings in outstanding traffic fines once defaulters replace their old license now plates with the digital ones. Also, sources for ministries also directly also linked to the express penalty scheme told also the journalists that the motorists with unpaid fines who have replaced also the old now plates with digital ones cannot be traced also really in the police's old data system, and that means they are going to be escaping with that. And I really want to inform you that these digital now plates have generated mixed reactions, where others have said these now plates look very much ugly, most especially for the motorcycles. You see now plates like UMA. Most of the times people have been asking, which kind of now plate is that? You have to continue to explain them that these are the digital ones. But most times people ask questions, why do they look very much big? It is because the numbers and the digits also have increased in numbers, and that's something at the end of the day which makes it also very much big. But the advantage is that with the digital number plates, we are going to be seeing also really an advantage that it also has an ability for tracking, because many of the times this also came up about because a lot of criminality was also happening in the country. This is also where the security ministry had to come up with also this idea of bringing this new digital number plates, which also is to enable, first of all, is the tracking of criminals, because we did see stories happening that criminals were using some of the machines to do their behaviors, and motorcycles were also said to be disappearing, motor vehicles were disappearing, and I believe the digital number plates also are going to be addressing that, and we hope at the right time this is also for the good cause of the nation, because we hope no more gun shootings should take place, most especially using these machines. For instance, motorcycles and also vehicles in there, because people had been also raising questions about these issues here, but we hope at the end of the day we shall be seeing also that happening in there. And as we get to move on, so many issues going to happen in the country, and for those who are also already getting new nappies, you are going to be receiving the digital ones. Meanwhile, for those who also are the old nappies, you are to replace them, and I believe some small money is going to be charged for those who are the old nappies. Meanwhile, for those who are seeking to have the new nappies, for motorcycle, it's also 50,000 for replacement, and also the other costs also stand in there for the new ones, and that's something at the end of the day we are hoping towards, also really making sure that you, as the viewer of Western Television, owning a motorcycle, owning a vehicle, must also interest yourself in. You can still get information from also the Ministry of Works and Transports, also websites, if at all you are also really very much worried about this also really. But that's something I didn't, you shouldn't be worried of. But these now plates also really are here to be with us, and we must therefore also embrace transforming, because we don't talk about digital transformation. You're not going to be running away from this. I remember at the time when phones were being introduced, some people had no idea that at one time they will be forced to use the phones, but today people are being forced to use the phones, and it's also components, for instance, social media, because some people had negative thoughts about social media, but now they are being forced, because the world is moving forward. There's no way the world will be moving backwards. Trust me, the world is moving forward, and that means if at all any idea comes in relation to digitization, we therefore have to embrace it, but not also really blindly in there, because we talk about digitization. It also has its own negative, but that discussion will be for another day. For now, we are going to be taking a short commercial breather. This is the KOKOLIRIKO live show on Western Television. Once again, I'm Farish Majid. In case you are just joining us right about now, remember, do not also really, that is also turn off, as we shall be returning back shortly, where I will be giving you more details of what's happening internationally, because if you look at also the ceasefire agreements, we are seeing also already taking place internationally, and I will be breaking down also what happened in the world of sports. And just as a hint, Arsenal also played to a draw, as Manchester United also was watched yesterday. I will be letting you know the scores, but that only will be coming through towards the evening of the show. For now, we are taking a short commercial breather. When we get back, the discussions will be able to follow. My name is Farish Majid. Stay tuned.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
Unwrap your holiday cheers with StarTimes this Christmas season. Starting the 15th of November, simply pay your monthly subscription for the next bouquet and automatically enjoy content on the next higher bouquet, plus a chance to win exciting prizes. Your gift box contains variety of local entertainment and fresh shows, exciting cartoon and fun kids entertainment, mega superstars local and international, a memorable trip to Spain to watch a La Liga match, And that's not all. Lots of prizes to be won, including ZTE Nubia smartphones with free 15 GB Airtel data. StarTimes gift that keeps on giving. Merry Christmas. This message is powered by ZTE Nubia. Better for all. Look out for StarTimes Solar to unwrap your lighting and entertainment experience this Christmas. At only 700 shillings daily charge, get yourself a StarTimes S50 that comes with lighting, phone charging, strong lithium battery, radio with a flash port and a Bluetooth speaker. For more entertainment needs, get yourself a StarTimes S130 that comes with an extra 32-inch TV screen and 2 years free StarTimes subscription. StarTimes Solar, more than just solar.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
Welcome back. This is the KOKOLIRIKO live show on West Nile Television. In case you are just joining us right now, you're most welcome aboard. from wherever you are watching us from. For you who is watching us right from home and still wondering where Yes, we are still saying within this period where we are likely to witness children return back to school, cases of gender-based violence are going to be also on the rise. Why? Because sometimes the parents used all the monies within the festive season, not minding of also really the new year, which also comes about with issues of schools reopening. But we're saying let's understand each other. And to the schools, let's also really receive the learners, because the parents may not be having the monies. There's no person who does not want to have the monies. Within this period, we are going to be seeing families, mothers having issues with the fathers, fathers coming back home when they're annoyed, beating the children, quarreling with the women because the money is not in there. But we are saying that will not solve any problem. The problem to be solved is simply through dialogue. Let's be open. Let's open up to our families. Let's open up to our spouses. That yes, indeed, I do not have the money at the moment, but within the next coming few months, I will be in position to have some monies. Other than also quarreling at the moment, and this is something at the end of the day that wouldn't also bring about peace in families, because we have quite seen this often. Within this period, if you are arguing, wait, we shall be seeing the cases of women running to Child and Family Protection Unit or Gender Office of our Rural Central Police Station on the rise, because the husbands are already going to be accused of neglecting their duties. But sometimes they neglect it without also really letting the women know that there's no money. And at the end of the day, what we see is police case. But we are saying that is not the case. We are only pushing out for dialogue in families, and that is the only way to go if at all we want to also really address our concerns. That's only if at all we want to also really have issues, because within this period, people are very much angry. I don't know why. Anything small, quarrel. At the end of the day, we are seeing people beating each other. But that's not the case. And at the end of the day, we are saying that shouldn't be the case if at all we want to see the country move forward to where it is already going on. And that's something at the end of the day, which also really I want to say is not also really worth also really being seen to move forward in there. And that's where we are going to pause with the discussions. But still within the remaining few minutes, because we are just remaining with about 20 minutes to wind up with today's show. But I hope you as the viewer who is watching us this morning can still share your thoughts and share opinions on some of the issues that we were able to discuss right from 7 o'clock until this hour of the morning. You can just keep your comment coming through on the comment section. For you watching us via YouTube, I will be in position to read the comment, and I will be also sharing it with the rest of you out there. And that is where at the end of the day your comment also will be shared also with everyone in there. And this is where I want to ask you now, in case you have anything to share, feel free to drop it on our YouTube comment section, and I will be chipping in through to see it there. And for those watching us via Facebook, you can still drop it on the Facebook account in there, and I will be in position still to read through. And then those accessing us via the X handle, you can still tag us, and I will be in position still to read through also really the comments in there. And our handles are Western Television, and you can as well follow me on Western, that's sorry, on Western Television, and as well my private handle, that's Farish Majid, and I will be still reading through your comments in there. And that's the beauty also of the show in there, that you can still be part of the discussions each and every mornings from Mondays to Fridays, right with me, Farish Majid, where also on some occasions we invite guests or persons of substance to sort of come and discuss on some of the issues here, and that is also really where we are hoping and looking forward to also lighting up the region. And now to look at some of the stories happening on the morning papers. Remember, since morning, I've not also checked through any of them, but in the remaining few minutes, I will be chipping in through some of the few comments and also some of the headlines also happening on different papers. Starting it off with the Daily Monitor, we did see Uganda Law Society President Semakade summoned over insulting DPP. Remember, this is another story that happened last year, where we did see the person, also in the names of Isaac Semakade, the newly elected President of Uganda Law Society, also making one of those remarks that left many people with questions. Why would he say this and that? Why would he utter this? And at the end of the day, we did see also the people of where this lady comes from also coming out to also ask him to apologize and resign in there. But that is something that did happen. But we are now seeing Buganda Road Chief Magistrate Court in Kampala has summoned Uganda Law Society President Mr. Isaac Semakade to appear in court on January 29th for allegedly insulting, that is Director of Public Prosecutions, in the names of Jane Francis Abodo. Now the Chief Magistrate, Mr. Ronald Kaizi, ordered Mr. Semakade to appear in court after finding also the prima facie case against him after he was charged with indecent assault in there. And that's why, according to the magistrate, the application also has a letter from the local council chairperson who stated that also really the utterances were indeed made on November 18th, 2024 in her area, and I did also inquire from the said ward, and it was by a letter dated January 14th, 2025 on the alleged commission of the said offense, and also in her letter that is dated January 15th, 2025, she conferred that indeed the utterances were made, and that's something which we did see happening. That means we must also learn from the experience of also really what's happening in this case, because many of times people think also they can hide behind the Freedom of Speech Act, but your freedom of speech does not also guarantee you to insult one another, and at the end of the day you will be facing also the courts of law if at all you also misuse that provision. Now the magistrate said the person in the video, evidence submitted also court was also identified as Isaac Kimaze Semakade, the President of Uganda Law Society, that his advocates did not dispute when they appeared in court on December 4th of 2024. And Mr. Kaizi further noted that although Mr. Semakade's lawyers had argued that since Justice Abodo also did not also complain, the case should not proceed as it is victim-centered, and that the section also 42 subsection 1 C and also the 3 of the Magistrate Court Act, which also states that any person with reasonable cause can make a complaint regardless of being the victim, and therefore court also could not dismiss the complaint. And that is something which we did see happening, and I hope at the end of the day this experience also should be serving out somebody out there who also may want to engage in such a similar practice. And at the end of the day we are saying your freedom should not also really jeopardize the freedom of the other, because if at all you want to use your freedom also really, but it should not infringe on my rights as a citizen, as a person. And at the end of the day we are saying let's learn also to control our tongue. Yes, learn to control your tongue, because what you utter, once it comes out and attacks the other person, even if the person doesn't talk, at the end of the day this person is still going to be feeling hurt simply by your actions. And that means learning to also control our tongue is very, very much important, and we therefore have to also learn to live with it. And that is one thing also at the end of the day we are going to be leaving that case also aside with, because it's a matter right now before court, and we wouldn't also want to talk much about it, as we shall be keeping you posted with more developments coming out in line with that story in there. But all in all, one experience that we should learn from that is that we should learn to control our tongue. Very, very much importantly in there. But now to move on, still within the Monitor, government to spend shillings 4.4 billion on recruiting staff affected by rationalization. And remember, we did see government also really merging a number of agencies, which among others is Uganda National Roads Authority, which not also survive in that process. And we did see Uganda Coffee Development Authority being moved also under Ministry of Agriculture, as UNRA was taken back under the Mother Ministry that is Ministry of Works and Transport, and many other entities as well we are affected also in that process. In there. Now the government, through the Public Service Commission, is set to spend shillings 4.4 billion, that is to conduct recruitment exercise of all those staff who also will be affected by the resignation of government agencies, which is abbreviated as the RAPEX. And according to the permanent secretary, that is also the secretary of the commission, Dr. Geoffrey Mbabazi, the Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic Development, has given the commission a supplementary of shillings 4.4 billion to complete the exercise, and that is really where they are going to be now looking forward to already employing some of these people who were affected by the resignation. Now he said some of the money will be used to buy vehicles to be used also in the exercise and to revamp the commission's e-recruitment system, and that's where this money also will be going towards. Now at least 35, and also where we're talking about at least 35, which is on a percentage of 13.5%, missed out also on being absorbed, and 49 did not also apply to continue working for the government. And according to Dr. Mabazi, most of those who are not absorbed didn't apply and will be given their also severance package to go and look for employment elsewhere, and a few of others who not also meet the qualification and working experience, and others also who applied were not part of the affected staff. And on January 10th of 2005, the permanent secretary also stated a recruitment exercise for former employees of Uganda National Road Authority and Uganda Road Fund. These are the agencies that also did not survive, and the two agencies also were part of the bills which the president also sent to in December last year, with UNRA and URF having a total of 1,555 staffs and 25 vacancies also to be filled respectively. And Dr. Mbabazi said also what we advertised first was for UNRA and URF under the Ministry of Works, but we realized these alone have approximately about 16,000 also with UNRA having the highest number of about 1,555. Other agencies also whose vacancies will be advertised within the next 3 months also include the Dairy Development Authority, which has a total of about 103 vacancies. Cotton Development Authority has 31 vacancies, and Uganda Coffee Development Authority with 159 vacancies among others. And now in April 2004, Parliament approved also the rationalization of several government agencies aiming at enhancing efficiency and optimizing resources, and this is where the bill also came out about. But we did see, of course, some people also opposing this. Now by December 2004, over 30 bills were also assented by the president and their agencies also to their president also, and were either mainstreamed, merged, or functionally transferred to their mother ministries. And now during the process, 2,000 staff were released of their duties, and those who wanted to be absorbed into the new government sitting under the Ministry of Public Service were advised to reapply for their positions, and that's something which is happening. And many of these people could be out there. Others could also as well be also now losing now interest in wanting to also continue with their works in there. But all in all, we are saying we hope also whoever will also be absorbed will continue doing a good job, and those who also lose out, maybe it is time also you look for opportunities elsewhere. And that's where at the end of the day we are saying that's not the end of life. You don't have to give up. I do understand some of you could now be used also to office work, but now it's time to embrace other opportunities. If at all you haven't been also active in agriculture, maybe it is time also you start farming. Now that you have your savings, you can still do farming, and at the end of the day still live a good life. My appeal to whoever also is going to be thrown out is that, but a strong warning also could be that many of you now could be convinced, because we are looking now at a period also we are getting closer to politics. Many of times some human beings with ill intentions are going to be coming to you. Yes, whether they like it or not, they're going to be coming to you, convincing you to go for positions. First of all, maybe as members of parliament, but you've never been on ground for politics. They are going to be coming to you and convincing you to take active also interest in joining politics. But my humble appeal would be that if at all you assess the ground and the ground is also not leveled, please keep your money in other activities. Use your money rightly. Maybe engage in agriculture or business. At the end of the day, you will still live a good life in there. And as we get move on now, we're just counting down a few minutes, but still look at what's happening internationally, and looking at also what's happening also internationally here on the BBC. We are seeing Israel says 90 Palestinian prisoners were freed after Hamas releases 3 hostages. That's in Gaza, and remember we are talking about the ceasefire agreements that already started off also in that area. In there where 90 Palestinian prisoners have been released as part of the first phase of the long-awaited ceasefire deal between Israel and Hamas. And the Israel also prison service has confirmed this. And most of them were women and children also who were greeted with hugs and cheers upon their arrival in the occupied West Bank. And 3 Israeli hostages were earlier released also really by Hamas and the Red Cross in Gaza City hours after a ceasefire began, before being handed to the Israel ministry. And the women released by Hamas include a 31-year-old Doron Steinbrach, a dual British also Israel Emily Damari, 28 years old, and we have Romy Gonen, a 24-year-old, who are part also of this group that is being treated in Tel Aviv hospital, who are now in a stable condition. And this is really something at the end of the day we are looking forward to. Remember, these were received with a lot of joy by the family members, but we are saying we want to see more of that also happening and more of the hostages also taking place, and we want at the end of the day see peace also return in that area in there. But that's something at the end of the day which is also really worth being appreciated, and we hope at the end of the day we shall be seeing also really changes happening in there. Now, leaving that discussion aside, now to look at also some of the stories happening in the world of sport, because without also really letting you know what's happening in the world of sport, maybe in terms of results, we shall be very, very much unfair also in there, because usually there's a saying that work without play makes Jack a dull boy. That's why we also want to let you know of what's happening in the world of sport, because at the end of the day, if we leave anything out, it will be very, very much unfair. Now, looking at some of the results of some of the games that were played over the weekend, starting it off on Saturday, we were able to see Newcastle also losing in the hands of Bournemouth by 4 goals to 1, as Liverpool did go on to beat Brentford in the dying minutes also by 2 goals to 0 in there, as Leicester also really had also really a lose in there. That's in the hands of Fulham. And we did see also the Crystal Palace beating West Ham by 2 goals to 0, as Arsenal settled for a 2-2 draw. That's already 2-2 goal draw with Aston Villa after also really taking the lead also by 2 goals. But we were able to see the Gunners not also really maintaining the pressure to the 90th minute in there. And at the end of the day, we were able to see the game ending also 2-2 in there. Meanwhile, in La Liga, we were able to see Girona also really being also beaten by also really Sevilla by 2 goals to 1, as Leganes also really was able to beat Atletico Madrid by 1 goal in there, surprisingly in there. And we were able to see Real Betis losing in the hands of Deportivo Alaves by 3 goals to 1, as Getafe settled for a 1-1 draw with Barcelona in there. And that is also really one of the games that also really left many soccer fans yapping in there. Meanwhile, on Sunday, we were able to see Everton beating Tottenham Hotspur by 3 goals to 2, as Manchester United lost 3-1 in there. Wow, it's also really adding more pressure on the Red Devils in there. Nottingham Forest also was able to beat Southampton by 3 goals to 2, as Ipswich Town were washed by Manchester City by 6 goals to 0. Meanwhile, in La Liga, we were able to see a number of games as well. In some of the games that were played in Spain, India, we were able to see Atletico Club beating Celta Vigo by 2 goals to 1, as Real Madrid did go on to beat Las Palmas by 4 goals to 1. Osasuna also really played 1-1 with Rayo Vallecano, as Valencia was able to edge Real Sociedad by 1 goal to 0 in them. And this is sort of where we're able to see some of the games also really played over the weekend. But remember, today we shall be still seeing a game, that's the English Premier League, as Chelsea will be up in action against Wolves. As in La Liga, we shall be seeing Villarreal taking on Mallorca, and these are some of the games also that will be coming through your way today. But remember, more detail of what's happening in the world of sports, right from the regional leagues or maybe the zonal leagues, in terms of transfers, will be coming through on the Whistle Time with Owen Ezaga and Linda Suzy from the hour of 2 to 3 p.m. And with that, I come to the end of the show. I hope you had a wonderful time with us. We shall be bouncing back tomorrow. My name is Farish Majid. Have a blessed day and a good week as well. I'm out until tomorrow. Stay tuned.